We're now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain.
Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off. Wish more folk could say that. Gets awful quiet guarding a landing pad that never gets used. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic, us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna in Halcyon. Please state your name for the records. Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill. We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago. Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly. Oh, sure. It makes Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell. Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Kinda goes over my head, though. Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor? I got this Rizzo's Rangers tossball poster coming in on the next sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in? That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest tossball hackers ever.
I wonder if he's kin. Dad had family that worked for Rizzo's. I never got to meet them.
Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. You been living in a sulfur pit or something? Oh, you're real funny. Guess I don't feel so bad for missing what goes on in the rest of Stellar Bay. I couldn't really say, I'm just a fan of the game. But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figure my poster's been passed around by more than a few people by now. Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
We don't get many outsiders.
Fresh blood at last. Stellar Bay could use some.
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace? What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place. And how should they know what they're missing? I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted. Yes, free to wallow in squalor together. Free to squabble with the iconoclasts over a raptidon-infested hellhole. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka. On account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you? Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the iconoclasts or some such. Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all. Nope, but a man can dream.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you? Oh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you? Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger? Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set. Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
You won't find a better deal in Halcyon than our special one-time offer for a refurbished sanitation unit. Remember, if it's dirty, it's a job for Sam.
What in the... That thing talks?
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
If Velma's capable of running the warehouse, she can certainly pick up her own caffeinoid.
Don't be so hard on her. With Brack's missing, she's working doubles and needs a little edge.
Very well, dearie. But you stop by any time you like, hmm?
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind.
Hello, dearie. Why, I don't believe I've seen you before. And with sweet cheeks like those, I'd remember. What can Auntie Abigail do for you? And what a helpful young man you are. Nothing like a little pill to liven up the spirits. Who's your lucky friend, dearie? Aren't you a saucy thing? I may not be a fresh young thing anymore, but with age comes experience, dearie. Much as I'd love to, my rheumatism is especially fierce at the moment, and I'm all out of my medicine. But I'd hate to send you away empty-handed. You were here for caffeinoid, weren't you? Who's it for? I'm so sorry, but with the iconoclasts and the marauder filth chasing away what little trade we get, I'm afraid I have to reserve my supply for Stellar Bay residents. Our reserves have gotten so low, I've even had to start locking the supply room upstairs. Isn't it a shame what some people will do to get a little extra? Aren't you a naughty boy? There are no discounts here, but Auntie knows what to do with mischievous men like you. Oh, I'd have to talk to Mr. Nandi about you, of course. Anyway, is there anyone else needing a pickup from Auntie Abigail? Oh, her. It's none of my business, but I have told her Dr. Williams would bump up her monthly allotment if only she'd join MSI. Contribute like the rest of us. Now I've gone and said too much. And you know me, dearie. I don't like to pry. I'm afraid not. Dr. Williams managed the town's allotments from his terminal upstairs. Even I can't access them. Oh, you flatter an old woman. Me, I'm just here to be a pretty face for the customers. And to keep an extra key to the supply room, for all the times Dr. Williams misplaced his. The one upstairs, where we store our medicines. Well, this certainly isn't worth my good health. I'll get you a dose, but I'll have you know, I'm very disappointed in you. There, and good riddance. That's the last help you're getting from Abigail Edwards.
Sorry, I've got to get back to the warehouse.
Ah, the charmer. Welcome back. Drink, chat, or business? All of the above? More or less dangerous than a steady supply of alcohol. Give it here. Whew, that hits the spot. Right in the, oh, no, there it is. There it is. Yes. We're in business. Let's go. Great. Where to? Oh, Hiram? I ain't checked in on that man in an age. He's running the giant radio tower we lovingly call Devil's Peak. We'll be going south and west, mostly along the road till we're past Fallbrook. Out there, there's a western slope that'll lead us through some fun. You like hunting, right? That's fun. If you're more of a spelunker, Rotting River will take you into the mountain caverns. We can discuss options when we get closer. That said, 3's already a crowd. I don't mind waiting somewhere until you got a spot open.
I hope you like being part of our crew, Nyoka. We're real excited to have you. So you keep Monarch safe, huh? That's real honorable work, Miss Nyoka.
Oh, no. Monarch ain't safe, even with me around. I've just got intimate knowledge of its dangers and an abundance of fortitude. Folks hire me because I know what you can shoot and what you ought to run from. That's a mistake you only get to make once.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself? Out at Devil's Peak? If you're headed that far, I see you've brought the right woman for the job.
Damn right.
But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna. Now, there's no need to humor me. I'm used to this particular letdown.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Surviving alone isn't as easy as it looks. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now.
So-called is right. We've got our hazards, but we're still here, damn it. The board took off without so much as a thought for the folks left behind.
I don't... Dang it, Captain, that's not right. Folks on Monarch shouldn't have to suffer just because the board says so.
Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
You talk like Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? It makes a rather pretty slogan. But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect yourself from a hostile galaxy, it starts to lose its shine. I have people to look after. I need to be practical.
That's why Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
But will that help the people here, Mr. Sanjar? Keep them fed and safe?
That's precisely what I'm trying to do.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended. Not long, but the devil is always in the details. And the salient detail here is a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance. In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in, these days it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people to marauders and raptidons out there. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. What can I do for you? I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff? Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws. It's true, the board has treated us unfairly, but I'd always envisioned that things could be different. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2, but back then it was known as Terra 1. As you may have noticed, this planet has more than its share of hazards.
That ain't fair. They didn't leave on account of the hazards. They left on account of their cowardice. The hazards just gave them a reason to put to paper.
Sharp as ever, Nyoka. And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out. That's also what I thought. Ah, we were young and bold then, not unlike yourself. We saw the chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up. Nonsense! They're good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out.
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means. Treating people right, because it's the right thing to do.
Here, here. That may not be the way the colony works, but it damn well oughta.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble thoughts rarely sway board policy. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. Oh, well, there were surely other junior executives with more open minds, though none of them had the temperament to handle the paperwork. No, they laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2, along with everyone else. In a manner of speaking, many of us stayed behind, in an act of quiet but firm defiance. As the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently. He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them. I'm trying to build something here. They only want to destroy things, and they risk ruining Monarch for all of us. It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels and pushes us further from the rest of the colony. He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
It's straight bullshit is what it is. A fabrication rich folks use to preserve their investments by leaving a lot of people here to die slow.
Nyoka has the right of it. It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
But wait, what happens to the folks stuck on the wrong side of dangerous?
I'm afraid the welfare of a few hundred people is too minor a figure into the board's risk assessments. Monarch may be dangerous, but it's hardly the wasteland the board describes it to be. Whatever the board's goals, the greater good has little part in them. Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Yeah, that'd go a long way toward rebuilding our homes.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation. I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship. Oh, believe me, I've learned that much. But I'm also not going to leave MSI at a disadvantage. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. What can I do for...
Help! Someone's been killed! I think I'm gonna be sick. I clean the apartments while everyone's at work. I've seen all sorts of messes, but this... If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. That's where the body is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go contemplate a hot shower.
Whatever you do, don't mention Tossball to Isaac. You'll never hear the end of it.
You know, I haven't seen him in a while.
If you'd gotten stuck in an hour-long rant about mostly colonists, you'd be thankful.
Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
Oh, sorry. Just spooked me, was all.
Even Stellar Bay ain't safe these days. What's the world coming to?
I have nothing more to say to you, young man.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow?
Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial H Mammoths.
I'd heard they'd gotten a new hacker. Is that why everyone's making such a fuss about you? But what are you doing on Monarch? Ha! Maybe we're not so isolated as I thought. So, what can I do for you? Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow, even if he did have terrible teeth. Right, so the thing with Isaac is he didn't know where to stop. He'd get stuck on something, and he just couldn't let it go. Sometimes he'd drink Purpleberry Punch by the liter. Other times he'd keep betting on a losing team. Started owing the wrong people money. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with one of them. Good. Someone's gotta. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies, but there's not much he can do.
Smells like rat in here.
Oh, it does work.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peels, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Wrapped musk and painted eyes, right here.
Please. Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy isn't at risk of being eaten by some vile creature. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going to get himself killed. Oh, I just know a raptidon is melting him with acid as we speak. Oh, I just knew you were a good person. Agnes, I said, this is the man to save your little Tucky. And I was right. He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the raptidons, mantisaurs, and marauders, the toxic sulfur pools, and poisonous blants, but he didn't listen.
Oh, law, Captain. A youngster won't last long in a place like this. Please, can't we help?
You ain't wrong, but if he hasn't made it to Amber Heights by now, there's no saving him.
Please, won't you go and find my boy? He's been pining for an adventure. Says he's tired of living cooped up behind the walls. But he doesn't understand how dangerous it is out there. I warned him. A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. I just know one's ripped his arm off and is gnawing on his sweet little fingers. He should have listened to his mama. I promised I'd keep him safe here with me. Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to fetch him home. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. I'm sure he made it that far. I just know it. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths. Tell them what I think of them luring little boys away from their mamas. It's immoral.
Who the fuck are you? This ain't your alley.
Hey, what are you doing here? This is our secret alley. Berta already pissed by those crates to market. Listen, that purple-toothed twerp had it coming. Not that anyone has proof. And not that it's any of your business. Oh yeah? What are you saying exactly? Wow. Most of the pencil pushers around here cave as soon as you look at them funny. Fine, we're going. This ain't worth it.
Huh?
You ever been off Monarch, Nyoka? Before you met the captain, I mean.
Nah, I mostly just drank and hunted. As soon as you stop to dream of other things, that'll be the day something sneaks up and eats you.
Don't fret. I'm watching your back now. Anything tries to eat us, I'll give it a mighty whack on the nose.
Well, I'll be damned. You watch my back, I'll watch yours.
Well, I see you've had a sobering effect on our friend Nyoka.
Sir, please stop.
Forgive me, Celia. I couldn't help myself. Anyway, what can I do for you? But that's terrible. What happened? I'm glad to hear you've dealt with them. They've been causing quite a bit of trouble around town. I've been consumed with other matters of late, but I would have dealt with them eventually. It really was on my to-do list. Still, your intervention in the matter is much appreciated. Please consider this payment for your services.
Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries. What can I do for you today? You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grimm wore her patience thin a long time ago.
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
He's sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell. Would you? I'd appreciate that so much. Maybe don't tell him I wanted you to ask. Just that you met this really nice lady named Celia, and she seemed... Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises. You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny. Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like Saltuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away.
What was it like in Edgewater? I hear you work.
Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in Raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails? You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts?
Sebastian, you ever get your hands on those pheromone sacs? Manipillars ain't gonna hunt themselves, you know.
I must have hunted a dozen, but I couldn't find a single sack on any of them. Must be looking in the wrong place.
Manipillars ain't got pheromone sacs. I just told him that so he'd stop asking me for advice.
At least I'm getting a good haul of claws in the process. You're in good hands, traveling with Monarch's top merc. Still, if you want any rat glands or manticlaws, I've got you covered. Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm?
Oh, no, that's not it at all. She's smitten with you. You smited her. Smote? Smoot?
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for Raptidon tongues. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice.
Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance. Take her someplace nice.
Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
That's the spirit, Sebastian. Be yourself. Between you and me, Captain, I'm not sure Miss Celia knows him too well. But we can hope, right? I want them to be happy.
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say? Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia. I've secretly been waiting for this. Or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on. Not to worry. If I never buy another
Ah, it's you.
Dawn tongue, it'll be too soon.
Hello.
Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got
too
other
busy
things to
playing
do,
a
and
phone
Mr.
game.
Nandi's giving me that back to work look. Anyhow.
I'm so glad you said that while I'm recording.
I'm so glad I said it.
What
while
do you
were
think of
recording
the
way
unreliable?
It was all part of your plan.
It was all part of my plan.
There's something to fix.
To
And
get
it's
poured
neat
in your
working in the
YouTube
ether.
videos.
You can't romance people in the outer world. It makes me sad.
Now, if I drill through the
You
hole,
can't have
we all suffocate.
romance stuff. That's
Exciting,
actually you
you know.
can.
No, you can flirt, but you can't like do anything serious. It's not like if you're to like raise Max like.
Because I think like one of the guy companions is gay for the main characters.
Actually, I probably should.
Well, you can only have like 6 companions, and I think you're talking about like there's like one guy companion I know. So I think it's that guy.
I literally tried to have a gay flirt option.
No, you can flirt, yeah, but you can't like.
He was like, let's go get a beer and like let's do some fun, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna back away from this one.
Like you can't like
Sorry,
you can't like do anything like sexual with them or anything.
He wanted to, dude. He wanted to get down and dirty. What are you talking about? My guy companion wanted to get down, but yeah, I didn't enjoy Outer Worlds a whole lot. It was fun, but it was like a lot of the same old after like 4 minutes.
You're a lifesaver.
We really
Hope
started to get
Abigail didn't
repetitive
give you a hard
really
time.
fast. Like all the weapons you find are the same. You never find much that's unique.
There are some blue weapons you can come across that apparently are like 1 in like 15 million.
Here you go.
I had some good weapons. It's just like, for the most part, a lot of your weapons are the same old, same old. They all look the same.
Well, did you find the shrink ray?
Yes, I did.
Did you find the like plasma wave two-handed smashy hammer? Did you find that sex baton?
I did. Wait, yeah, actually, yeah, I did. I was gonna say I didn't play much further after the hammer thing, but
yeah, it's all part of the one quest. So
yeah, I did get the baton.
I didn't use it. I'm not a one-handed person. I'm really sad. I literally have all my stats like engineering and like talking to people. So I go up to an enemy, I'm like, man, I do like no damage to anything.
I mean, I was basically focused on charisma as well. It's just like, that's how you play these kinds of games. You play with...
It's better to, like, in this game, you talk more situations out than you would, like, fighting your way out. That's why I like, Fallout doesn't have a thing with doing that.
That's what I'm saying, that's where they differ from the current Fallout developers, is the current Fallout games are really combat focused, whereas the older ones weren't really all that combat focused.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the older ones, because you could, like, have no intelligence. If you had no intelligence, it stopped you from doing things. Like it stopped you from talking, like, absolute.
I need to get a fucking 90,000 score on this porn game, and it's very hard. I only have so many turns. I mean, I'm at 50,000 score, and I've probably used, like, half my turns, but still.
Alright, so what do you want to play? I only have, like, an hour and a half.
Oh, right, you have work today.
Alright, well, I only have, like, an hour. And, like, 10 minutes. I don't have work tomorrow,
so. Take a break from Dead Space for a little bit.
Alright. Also, now with my new, like, internet, I download stuff, like, so fast. It took me, like, 10 minutes to download that new Apex update.
Today. They actually posted to their site. They were like, hey, we just predicted that there would be outages in your area for some type of reason. And I'm like, ooh, outages.
You crash right now.
Need more turns.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, alright? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry.
Same color. This is an explosion. Sexual explosion. Oh, buddy.
Did she now? Well, I can see I was mistaken. Because if Catherine really had sent you, there'd be a lot more expletives in your message. I hope you can forgive my temper. This job's been running me ragged lately.
Okay, I'll finish the rest off myself.
First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing.
Get an extra bit of turnage out of that.
Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with
I really hope there's some like major choices you can make in the Outer Worlds. Like, I know, like...
There's 2 endings that I know of, because I watched a speedrun video.
Like, I know, like, you can, like, side with outlaws at some points. And, like, that seems cool. But I only saw that, like, once. But, like, when you did it, no outlaw would attack you. There's marauders, but those aren't, like, the same as outlaws. You also can't get a pet dog, and I'm sad.
I can't keep working double shifts either. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments.
Who the fuck this?
Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra drugs he's been taking from supply. Something else?
Extra drugs taken from the supply? How is he taking extra drugs from supply? I robbed the supply closet.
Obviously, they have a secret stash.
Stealing's such a nasty word.
Secret stash from the medical ward that I've already stolen from.
And yeah,
where's the other secret stash?
Fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shift.
Damn.
I didn't go out there.
Someone would have if this were a corporate town.
Yeah,
we pride ourselves on giving people a little breathing room. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the salt tuna. Fat, and mostly tumor-free. This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it?
God damn it. Tried to hit on chicks in my porn game and they're like, oh god, you're one of those.
I paid sublight for it.
That's
so
just
it's mine.
Sex.
And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money.
This chick is stuck in a well and her clothes are all torn up and she's naked. How do you get stuck
It's
in a
staying
well?
locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money. She runs the betting.
Oh, right,
She asked me about the poster one. Damn.
I want to go for the highest energy thing. Let's go for like the middle energy cost thing.
Alright, yeah, let's
I got a
intimidate.
feeling you and Catherine would get on like tumors on a pig. Take the poster.
Alright, yeah,
then.
like apparently there's like this like old lady that like is like heavily flirting with you, and your character is like either like, oh yeah, let's just keep this going. It's like, this is getting weird. It's like one or the other. You're either into it or you're not.
Into what? What's going on?
An old woman hitting on you in this game?
No.
Sublight boss out of Fallbrook.
Oh.
Handles most goods that come in or
I
out.
forgot what I
of
was talking about.
Has a mouth like a ground six
Tell this
spacer.
chick to climb the walls of a well using a fucking pocket knife to climb with. This sounds crazy, but it might just
Caleb
work.
Herrick
In what
runs
world
the
is
autoloader
climbing out of a
operators.
well using a
He thinks I
fucking
don't pay them
pocket
enough
knife?
for flipping switches and
What
turning
about pocket
dials.
knife? A hunting knife.
So the job's easy, but you're not
Climbing
doing it?
the walls of a well
Something
with
smells
a hunting
here.
knife.
I
while
mean,
you
everything
aim the
smells in here,
knife
but
and everything
something's
around
fishy.
you is fucking moist as fuck.
Wait.
You're gonna climb
He
the
and his
walls of
whole
a well
crew
with a
walked
hunting
out.
knife.
Say they won't
In
come
what
back
world
unless
does
I
that
pay
sound
them
like
more.
It's gonna fucking work. Maybe if you had two hunting
You mind
knives
slapping
and you
him
had,
around
like,
a little while
climbing
you're at it?
boots that like the ones with the spikes
I'm
in them where you
joking.
just kick into the wall or something.
Mostly.
And it fucking hooks in.
Unless you can do it without hurting his job performance.
If you had climbing shoes,
If you can find a way to get him
two
back to
hunting
work,
knives?
I'll make
So
it
you
worth
want to
your
play?
while.
Or?
Check the yacht club.
What do you want to
He's
play?
usually there.
Well, like, you don't want, well, we're taking a break from Dead Space because we wouldn't really get anywhere.
We're taking a break from Dead Space because it's getting a little boring because all I'm doing is trying to get a weapon that actually plays that's fun to use.
That's fun, you know, does damage, but you can't find that.
Yes, there's no good weapon variants at the point.
Did it just say mash random keys? Password incorrect. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that's what it meant. Oops.
I mean, you can just continue enjoying that, I guess, if you want.
Nah, I'd rather play with you.
What do you want to play?
Damn, got some nimble fingers, Captain.
Apex? I suggested that.
Oh, right, you did. We can play some Apex.
Yeah! Totally didn't buy that character. Oh, I broke my leg. Totally didn't buy Revenant. Nah.
There's a new character out now.
There's a new what?
There's a new character out now.
Oh, yeah. I honestly thought it would have been Forge. I was more excited for Forge than Revenant because I didn't know how Revenant would play.
Well, we knew it was Revenant that's coming out.
Well, no, because they were saying it was Forge, but they lied. So now it's Revenant.
Everybody was saying it was Revenant.
Yeah, but like they even